Thank you. That was absolutely beautiful, guys. Thank you so very much. Beautiful to see all of you here today. I wrote a letter last week, and we are at this beautiful time where a lot of things are happening right here and on the planet. And I want to acknowledge, if you'll look at the calendar, and you'll see we have wonderful new teachers showing up in your announcements. Mary Cincy is going to be teaching. I'm going to get into a little bit about teaching and how important it is to where we're going and what we're each doing. And as these teachers have been showing up and really doing amazing things, and there's so many teachers in this room. All of us are teachers. All of us are guides. All of us are students. And we are just at this incredible, incredible place where bringing forth a lot of new ideas here and having them kind of gel together so that we find out what's working and what maybe needs adjustment over time. Because that's what we're experiencing. We're experiencing this growth and this beautiful thing happening, but we don't always get it right on the head at first. You know, we have to keep evolving and changing things. So we do it as gently as we can, but yet knowing that when we're guided by God to do and make these changes, new announcements appear. You know, just new things will continue to happen here. So what I'd like to do is light the Christ candle, and which, of course, brings in the light of the Christ conscious metaphysically for us as we light it as a candle. April is the month of love, the ability to attract, unify, and that word I never can read it. I am a radiating center of love from John. Back of the heart is where the pink is in the 12 powers, and the color is pink. And that's a unity thing. When you get into 12 powers, each of these candles represent a part of man, a part of who we are in those 12 powers. So I'd like to just ask you to close your eyes for a moment. Settle in. I'm going to invite you to take off your shoes today, get grounded, literally into the ground. Don't let anything come between you and earth and spirit and your consciousness and the energy and that flow of that never-ending God that comes through us as Christ consciousness. Please get comfortable. And as we call in all that is, all of our guides, all of our teachers, and we ask to be guided in a time of great change on the planet, in a time of great change in our hearts, in a time of learning things we've forgotten, in a time allowing in the teachers that are coming to create a new world, to put away the old programming that we know does not serve this world and actually creates evil and darkness sometimes, and we see it around us through the destruction of mankind. We let that go and we turn that into love and power instead of fear and sadness. And we feel and we hold that love so intensely within ourselves. And we transform it. We keep transforming it, expanding it outwards. And we say, thank you, God. So it is. Do we have any first-time guests here? Not to call you out, but we just have a bag and something that we'd like to give you to say thank you. So 1, 2 over there. First-time visitors, 3 over here. There's 1 over here. And I'll let that be distributed while we get started, okay?
I embrace change with poise and flexibility. Life is filled with unexpected changes that present new challenges. My ability to gracefully adapt to life's twists and turns hinges on my firm connection to spirit. With divine wisdom as my ever-present eternal guide, I recognize that I can never be truly lost or permanently stuck, even if it might sometimes feel that way. I embrace all unknowns with poise, adjusting effortlessly to every new circumstance. I might be facing the most unforeseen obstacles or seemingly disruptive detours, such as divorce, loss of a job, or a medical diagnosis. Whatever the challenging circumstance, I do not become fearful or rigid. Aligned with spirit, I stay open-hearted, flexible, and calm. My life is always supported by perfect love. From Psalm 119, 105, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path.
Mary, can we have a little bit of music, maybe to go into meditation? Thank you, guys. As we close our eyes and we prepare to go into meditation today, knowing we are protected and loved by every ascended master that may be visiting us, every teacher, every guide, every angel, every element, and every elemental. We know holds this holy space sacred. And in that holy space, miracles, or what seem like miracles, occur in each of our lives every day and every way. And we continually become more and more amazed as to how this beauty shows up in each of our lives. Unexpectedly, unknowingly sometimes. And sometimes we can see it coming, and sometimes we don't get a glimpse of it until it's upon us. A true manifestation of a new world we are creating, we get to see those glimpses because we remember, we open our hearts, we open our minds to the kingdom of heaven that exists within each of us. And as we lovingly call in what is ours to do on a daily basis, on an individual basis, we are guided by the loving spirit of the higher self of the one omnipotent God in the entire universe. And as we go into silence now, we allow. If you'd say the Lord's Prayer with me to your own way. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed it be thy way. Thy kingdom come, thine is done, on earth as it is in heaven. We are given this day our daily bread, and forgiven our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. We are led not into temptation, we are delivered from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever and ever. And so it is. Amen. We read out all these books a lot, right? The Power Within You, we've been studying. We've done some stuff with Paramahansa Yogananda. We've been working on nonviolent communication, which we don't even like that word. It's more compassionate communication. Or how's the way you phrase it? Living the language of kindness. We can study the four agreements. And we can study and we can study and we can work and we can work and we can work. But there's come a time in our world where the fire is so intense within us sometimes when we're good and clear. And the fire is so intense and so alive in us that we know we're being called to do something now. We know we're being called, we're looking at the world that seems to just be falling apart around us. And I was having a conversation with a young man at this festival that I've been at for the last couple of days, which has my heart wide open right now. And listening to these stories of where it's not just millennials, it's boomers, it's all of us, feeling something is reaching in and grabbing us right now. Each and every one of us, and I know every one of you in the room are feeling it. And you know something's coming, but you don't know what it is. And you know it's going to present itself in consciousness. Or it's going to present itself in a war. We don't know. These are all possibilities. There's just so many possibilities. So what we do is we begin to think about not that just these things are happening in the world, but how am I here to affect and change an entire planet? Now that's a little daunting, you know? How are you going to change an entire planet? When I came on board here, when I was interviewing to do the work here, I think you all knew, and many of you have not heard what I originally spoke on, but I spoke on community of Chi. To me, Chi is an etheric place where energy moves around beautifully and in love. I named my dog Chi, and I hadn't processed all this. All that hadn't happened yet when I got that dog. But when I came here and I started talking about community, I was dead serious about it. I was dead serious because that is my purpose. And my purpose, personally, is creating community. I believe yours is too. I believe every single one of us are here to create some kind of a loving, amazing, transformative community in our lives, whatever that looks like. It could be our immediate family. It could be all the people sitting in this room. It could be all blood relatives or spiritual family. As we've watched our world continue to get more intense every day in every way, we can pull back into our loving meditation, into that place of quietness, and we get fed the pearls of wisdom from that place. And in that, what I'm finding is, as kind of a torchbearer, and I've talked about it before, a torchbearer that says, all of these people working together want to go in a direction of love and light and changing something. And I believe that starts in our own community. Talk about that and that daunting, welcome. We talk about that daunting world change thing we're talking about, but we can do it a community at a time. The teachers are showing up with a lot of good information. The students are showing up ready to learn. I was standing with a group. Let me tell you what I did this weekend. Some people that we originally put together a bunch of stuff down in the Chattanooga region, up into the Squatchy Valley, when I was working in community down there, got together and basically put a festival together. And 3 years ago, I was doing the exact same thing at another festival. And we created a beautiful tent area. We put up a big altar, and we had things on the floor where people could sit on. And during the festival, people would just come in and talk about where they are in their lives. And the place was about holding space so that we could begin to explore with each other deeper meanings of where we are and to catch up and coalesce and see where everybody is on their spiritual journey. To come in one by one and just sit and talk. Well, I was speaking, and I didn't know this happened. This was over 3 years ago. But I was sitting and talking with this young man, and we were just doing our God thing. We were communicating through God's voice the best way we could. And I saw him about 3 weeks ago. I had gone down to my friend who's now managing Dumpy's down there, just a great venue for music now. So it's like an hour away and great music, and it's fun. And, you know, I got to take y'all down there sometime. It's a lot of fun. But a lot of those people that are now stretching out over this region from, I can say at least from here to Chattanooga, to Pikeville, to Atlanta, to Birmingham. But this is more in a local region, but a lot of those people now are out there doing some really amazing work, really changing the planet and bringing awareness as to what's happening. But this young man came up to me 3 weeks ago and he goes, Bates, you may not remember this or not, but we sat and we talked. And after that conversation, he goes, you inspired me. That talk inspired me to go out and start raising monies to build new conscious communities, to actually help put them in place. When we talk about that, we talk about the growth of a church or a spiritual center. We talk about maybe where people live around us, where they can walk to a spiritual center and get their feeding whenever they want to, and then go back home or drive back home. A community can look like whatever that needs to look like. Yet we know, how do we pull it in when we need to? How do we pull it in so that people can come for a spiritual feeding? And then through that, have we really learned what we need to learn in order to go change the world? I'm speaking. So anyway, he went out, and for the last 3 years, he's been working to raise money to build structure within communities. That's powerful. Just giving himself up to go out and say, we can change the world. So that's a piece, right? That's a piece. It's somebody out there really working to build the funds and the finances so that maybe we can create a structure, a place to live and work from that is a new way. It's not about greed. It's not about, this is my piece of land and I need this much rent and I'm going to double it because I can and I can make more money. It's not about that. Yes, we need to be wise business decision makers, but what we're doing in the world is not about raising capital so that we can buy the next biggest TV or the next biggest phone. I mean, a lot, and I'm not condemning it. Go do that. Stay up with technology. Let's use the technology while we have it, as long as we have it, before it changes into something that we don't even recognize, right? But in speaking with this young man, he's gone out and done his work, and he asked me to do what I did 3 years ago there, this weekend at a festival just right down the road from us. There are people, we created a tent, and again, people have just been coming in and meditating, and we've been sharing space, and I've been being able to hear what so many people are feeling, and these are millennials starting at about age 20, 22, 25, 30, 35, 37, and there's a lot of boomers there. A lot of people that are older than that, getting into their 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever. I'm hearing the same thing from everybody, is that everybody is feeling something and they're reaching with all the love that's within them to try to figure that out while still living in the world, while still living with what's going on, but knowing there is an explosion coming. And I've talked about this in detail with people this weekend, and we don't know if that explosion of love is going to look like this entire planet going and ascending into a different dimension, to heaven. We don't know, but people ask that question. They ask the question, okay, so how does consciousness come to an entire planet at the brink of destruction when you look at it out there? How does this consciousness arrive into our hearts and into our communities and into our world? We don't know what it looks like. But when you sit around and you talk to people or you work with them or you get to know them, you start getting your insights as to a change is occurring. A lift is occurring. I was talking to another young man yesterday. He goes, young guy, brilliant, very smart. And I didn't know, we don't know this until we actually open up conversations with people. And I was telling him, I've personally been alive for 55 years. In that 55 years, when I focused on the positive, man, I felt better than when I was stuck in my negative. Every single time I felt better. when I could move past that thing that was a sticking point in my life, the place where I'm having to learn the lesson, where I'm having to learn to let go of whatever it is that's holding on to me, that's keeping me from moving forward while I wallow in my pity. And I have to do that sometimes. I have to go down in that dirty, dark place, wallow around in the mud and the crap that's there until I can figure out how to get out of it. And the best way to figure out for me is to pick up a book, talk to a friend, meditate, get clear, shut out the noise on the outside, maybe go hear some music, dine with some people, and eat some eat people. The zombie movies on TV are getting to me. It's like, eat with people. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this out. I'm not here this Wednesday, but we have started a Wednesday night potluck, and this is where I am asking you if you have time to come join in community. Bring a bottle of whatever, soda water or a beer. I don't care. I want us talking. And we don't have to do it with alcohol. We can do it with our minds and our hearts. I'm just saying I want you to feel comfortable walking into these potlucks as we develop them. People are starting to say, I want to do the potluck on Wednesday night. Let's go to my house. I've gotten like 3 or 4 people that are ready to do those. These potlucks and the ones after service where we're all gathering and starting to really communicate, that's where the magic happens, people. That's where the magic happens. I can sit in here every Sunday and overview it, which is my job to do. I can infuse love into it by having a conversation with you in here. But I cannot show up all by myself and have a conversation with me at a potluck. I can do that, and that'll be great. But it sure would be nice doing it with you, doing it with people that really are feeling that call that I must do something now. The world is changing. It's upon me. What is mine to do? This is how we do it. So, I invite you this Wednesday night. I'll be in license and ordination in Detroit Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. And this is my 3rd license and ordination. And they say you have 4, 5, or 6. And I don't even count them. I'm just like, okay, as they come, I'll just manage to make it, again, not the bigger picture, not taming the shrew, the whole world at one time, but I'll take one at a time. I'm going to do a reading real quick here. Eric Butterworth, Discover the Power Within You. Again, a basic unity principled book. One of the teachers after, I would say one of the finest teachers after Charles Fillmore. Occasionally we hear someone say that he has gotten religion. What does that mean? Does it mean that he has developed a new feeling toward life, or that he has simply subscribed to a new set of custom-made convictions? Can a person's religion be defined by a church he attends or the creed he accepts? Or is Christopher Morley right here when he says you have it to guess at it by now you find yourself acting? Acting. Not interested. Not interested in acting. Christianity is not an end to itself. You cannot complete the work of salvation or enter the kingdom of heaven merely by joining a church or professing a creed. What is called conversion is not the end of the road. Maybe it's a simple finding a road on which to travel. Finding a road on which to travel. Where all the other hearts possibly are open, where all the other hearts are willing to learn a new way of being because the old way does not work. What else must be pointed out in our minds to see that what's going on around the world does not work? It is people like us in every city and every nation right now who are getting real clear on this. We have people showing up now to give us the tools. We keep saying I would change if I knew what to do next, right? What do I do? Who's here to teach me? I'll share another story. This is really interesting. Did any of you hear about yesterday, Canada? Basically, it's in lower and upper houses, but not Canada. Mexico is getting ready to legalize Mexico. Not state by state or city by city. They're getting ready to legalize marijuana. The entire country. Donald Trump wanted a wall. When this happens, there's going to be a wall there that they're going to build. Because they'll have the money. And everything that we're seeing out there is getting ready to change, my friends. Between Mexico and the United States and Canada. Everything you know is changing. And when you have countries fighting against countries that are next door neighbors, what we are learning, there are people showing up right now that are teaching us we are human beings. We are full of light, we are full of love, and we are everywhere. We have forgotten what our rights are as human beings. Certain inalienable rights for the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness as an individual being. Do you know that when you are born in this country on a piece of land, what does that make you? Makes you a citizen? Sovereign? Does it make you a native-born American? It does. And people are starting to put the tools into place to where we can learn and understand we are sovereign souls and individuals, and no one can take that away from us. But we have been led to believe that all of that can be taken away from us just by laws and believing certain things are going on. There are people showing up, and I will be presenting these people within a week or so, who are here to begin to teach us how to take our sovereignty back. By taking our sovereignty back, by being a native-born American citizen. We are Native Americans mostly in this room. That gives us rights we thought we didn't have. And they're now coming into fruition, and they're coming into being. And the teachers, powerful teachers, are stepping up and saying, because this land, because this world is based on laws, man's laws, and it's become a corporation, as long as you can answer to those rules and those laws in paper form, documenting exactly who you are, something is occurring to where we can reach down inside ourselves and pull that truth of who we are out and present that to the world in the most loving, kind, and giving way. When I see teachers show up in front of me yesterday that have all the tools to do that come from our United States Navy, from the Marines, from the National Guard, who are saying, we're not doing things this way anymore. And I'm seeing them left and right, coming and going. Tons of people who say, what I went to defend this country for and what I'm defending my life and liberty and pursuit of happiness is not what's going on out there. So what this young man does, 37-year-old man, maybe 40, but he's had a lot of life experience. And it hasn't been easy for him. But he's now taking all of that stuff and he carries it in his backpack. It says, I'm a sovereign citizen. Where I live is sovereign. My soul is sovereign. I, as an American, I, as a human being, am taking back my power. And these people are starting to show us how. That's what's getting ready to happen in consciousness, my friends. Consciously, we are waking up, and we can't. Our souls can no longer allow us to be controlled by something that isn't even real. Our souls, what guides us is God, is source, is love, not this man-made thing that's been made up and hung over our heads for as long as we can remember. The truth is breaking free. We are going to continue here to allow people to come in, to allow great teachers to come in and show us how to transform our lives. We gave a really valiant effort to compassionate communication, but at that time we could overview it, but the tools to teach it didn't show up as far as a teacher saying, I'm going to really give us some guidance. I've studied this stuff. I've studied how to change our language. We're talking about changing the world, so what do we have to do? We have to change our language. We have to change the way we communicate. Well, how do we just do that? Teachers, they come in here and they show us how to do it. When do we start, Mary, on that one? May 17th. Mary is going to be coming in here, and we're going to get down to the basics again and have a good teacher with us. We have lots of good teachers. They're showing up, giving us, moving us into the next levels. But Mary's here, and I thank you, Mary. This is a powerful tool you're bringing to us, and it's going to be a blessing. It is a blessing. I will continue to ask each of you to show up. The time is now. There is no more time. And I'm being very brave, and this was all, there's a lot of anxiety in here when I say these things to a group of people like you. There was. Then I can take it in and I can breathe through it and I can know it's love. And I can know that I really need to be speaking my truth. Because if I don't, where are we going? Just another Sunday conversation? I mean, I know we're doing good work. We're going to take that in and we're going to do what we can with it. But working together is how we do it. One last thought. We have two unities in this community. We have Unity of the Mountains and we have Unity of Blairsville. We have Myrtle and Charles Fillmore who started Unity back in the 1800s, late 1800s. And how many unities were there in Kansas City, Missouri? Do you know? How many unities in Kansas City in that area? Do you?
At least 3 I know of in the immediate area.
Yeah, but there's like 15 or 20. There, yeah, within the city, it just grows and grows. I've really been contemplating this because you know what I want more than anything is for the people of unity consciousness to stop looking at the borders and the walls of Unity of Blairsville or the Unity of the Mountains. That doesn't appeal to me at all. I want us to be talking openly and freely and honestly that we have 2 unity churches in Blairsville, in this little towny town, and how powerful is that? How beautiful is it? We have 2 unities in this little bitty place. So when people come into town, why aren't we saying, have you been to one of the unities? Have you checked out so-and-so speaking on Sunday or so-and-so speaking on Wednesday? Or they have a great person speaking over at the other church, and send them over there. I'm not here to protect this. I'm here to grow it, all of it. And I think you are too. Why section ourselves off? And you know, I've just been trying to understand it the last 6 months that I've been here. Let's open our hearts, boys and girls. Because if we go out and reach out to people that we meet and we say, have you been to Unity? Have you seen what they're talking about? And you got a couple of options here in town. Go check them out. I'd like for this conversation to resonate through both unities. I'd like for this conversation to really realize that this is an entire community, and if we are going to change the world, if we're going to get serious about it, we have to start in our own community, and we need to be united. Does anybody agree with me? So, this is where I'm going. It's about unity. That's our name. Let's go out and love each other. Let's love all this into being. Okay? What's next on our program?
Bates, I think you ought to get a little bit more
I should. But I tell you, I go to a festival, and that's where my heart opens up, because I'm around all these open hearts, and I'm hearing people from everywhere and what they're feeling and what they're doing. And it opens me wide up to say, we got to be talking about what's really going on in people's hearts. And that's why I'm open. That's why I'm passionate. This is my life. My life is about God. My life is about supporting each and every one of you to the fullest in every way I possibly can and reaching us out so you can reach out. And I am on fire for it. I don't do it right all the time, do I? I don't know how to communicate as well as, and I'm going to stop saying that, I do know how to communicate, and I'm learning how to communicate better so that when little misunderstandings or people don't like the way the chairs are because it makes them feel vulnerable, that I can listen to that, and then eventually some more people come and say, well, let's try it this way. I'm not here to drive off anybody because I'm trying to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm here to bring you together so that we can feel comfortable together, so that if we do sit in a circle, you don't feel so vulnerable. And learning that lesson can be gentle and kind. But I like this. Look, everybody gets to sit behind each other. This is kind of a cool new way we've done this. And I was really grateful that this was brought to my attention.